about some of the inside pieces of the insurance industry. I talk to people all too often, and it's kind of like mortgages with Chris, or kind of like the real estate industry. People have no clue what you're talking about. You open your mouth and say, what's your liability limit, what's your comprehensive deductible, and some people kind of go, huh, what's that? And then I've also had a lot of questions lately kind of concerning what's going on with the insurance industry. Like any other industry, it's having its cycles that it goes through. It's all kind of cyclical if you want to look at it that way. So I wanted to take a minute just to kind of tell you guys a little bit about what's going on, what we're seeing, and some of the things that as consumers we're all seeing as well. So just kind of a brief overview here, what I want to hit base on today, inside the numbers, kind of show you a little bit about what's going on within the insurance industry from the claims perspective and the payouts that we're seeing, and some of how that's affecting, obviously, the investment side of it a little bit as well. A lot of people have the same question. They look at their policy and they think, well, where do my premium dollars go? How does that work? How does that come out? And then a couple other things I wanted to touch base on. These are topics that I don't think people think about or really understand a whole lot about. How often should I look at my policy? And then, of course, some mistakes to avoid as you're looking at your policy, as you're purchasing your policy or continually paying for it. The first thing here is kind of inside the numbers. This has to do with basically your auto, home, and your small businesses or your business claims that have taken place. And of course, looking at it from a catastrophic standpoint, as you can see this year, within the first 9 months of this year, $25 billion was paid out just due to severe weather. That's not counting other claims that have taken place over the course of the year. And again, that's just 9 months out of the year. So $25 billion has gone out the door from not just my company, but every insurance company in America. And as you can see, your 2011, just kind of looking at it from a ranking standpoint, catastrophic-wise, storm-wise, the 5th or 6th most expensive year in the United States history. So you see we're making a huge number of payouts, and the storm climate is as bad as it's ever been. And just kind of looking here, again, inside the numbers here, a lot of people think, well, insurance companies just take my money, I don't see anything out of it until I have a claim. Well, as you can see, you're looking at property and casualty insurance, the net income, with your taxes as well included, fell $44.8 billion in the first half of 2011, which last year in the first half it was $16.8 billion. So you can see a pretty sizable drop there. And part of that's attested to the investment environment, storms, claims, all that stuff. And just kind of looking at overall profitability, you know, they're looking at the annualized rate here. Your policyholders, the surplus, when they say surplus, basically that's what your claims dollars are going to. Insurance companies or your policy dollars. Insurance companies build what's called a claims reserve. So when these big catastrophic events happen, they're not standing there with the pants around their ankles, so to speak. We've got something to come to you and say, okay, we actually invested your money, and here's what we've got to take care of you with. So you can see that took a pretty sizable decrease if you look at it percentage, went from 1.76 from actually 1.7 was 6.4. And I know a lot of people kind of think, okay, we've had all these bad events, and what's my insurance company going to do? How are they still doing this? When you look at insurance industry, it's probably the most stable industry that's out there. You should know that even though some of these things have happened, you look at these numbers, insurance companies are built for the long haul. The good ones are built for the long haul. So obviously, your claims are still going to be paid despite particular losses. And I know that's something consumers think about with what you've seen just in the business environment as a whole in the last several years. You see a lot of companies that are upside down and they disappear. And as of June, looking here at the bottom, the last little piece of this slide, as of June this year, insurers had, and this is kind of talking about the reserve again, insurance companies as a whole, you average it out, had basically $559 billion in a surplus to handle the claims that are coming through. I know that seems like a big dollar amount, but as you see, when you take a storm like happened in Joplin, Missouri, it wiped out pretty much the whole town. So as you can see, something like that, obviously, that puts a pretty big dent in that particular reserve. And to kind of hit on the topic and kind of staying with the same theme, where do my premium dollars go? Well, again, they're obviously going to build that reserve and make sure that enough money is on hand. Some of it's obviously invested. Kind of looking inside the numbers part of it here to kind of show you what you look at. And this is 2009 information, so I'm sure the numbers are probably a little bit different, but this was the most up-to-date that I could find. basically, you take every $100 of insurance premium that's taken in. $74 of that goes out the door to pay for claims. So right there, you're working at, without that $74, so take that away. That doesn't count, obviously, the money that insurance companies put aside to invest, what they pay to keep the doors open, keep the lights on, and pay their employees. So by the time you do that, you're basically working at a negative. The numbers that I looked at, you're looking at basically, you're in the negative by $1. So as you can see right there, that shows you that you're looking at a big discrepancy there. And a lot of people, the reason I bring this up, a lot of people are seeing rate changes within the insurance industry, and a lot of that's because of that figure right there. Insurance companies have to adjust their numbers, so that way, obviously, they're turning some profit to keep the doors open, pay your claims, and protect you like they're guaranteed to protect you. So as you can see, you're probably going to see some changes within the industry, rate increases. I know some people that have gotten their renewals have probably seen that already, and that's the biggest question I get pretty much every single day. Why is my rate different than it was last year? This is kind of the inside piece of why that's the way it is. But your premium dollars, obviously, are going, this is where they're going. They're going to pay claims, they're going to pay the light bill, pay all that stuff. And the investments, Rebecca can speak to this probably more than I can. That money you put aside is not earning as much of a return, and insurance companies aren't like a lot of companies. They're very conservative in their investments. So with that said, obviously, the investments right now aren't earning what they normally would, and insurance companies don't put aside that much as an investment anyway. So kind of a little bit of that. And kind of to shift gears here, how often should I look at my policy? Of course, the rate increases kind of bring people to think about that. I need to look at my policy, what's changed, why has it changed? So here are some things to kind of look at, and really 4 events that should trigger you to think, okay, it's time to look at my policy. Basically, every year your policy comes up for renewal. Don't just file it away in a drawer and say, it's okay, I've still got my policy. Take a look at it, pull last year's out, look at last year's, or if you want to look at the last couple of years, pull those out and always look at it, because there may be some things, not just rate that's changed, it may be that your deductible's changed a little bit. Some companies are adding in a deductible for wind and hail, so you may have had that added, not be aware of it. And any major purchases you make, if you buy, new television, new furniture, those are always good triggers to make you look at that policy, because it may be that what once works doesn't work now. You may need more coverage than what you have. And then, of course, any home improvements. If maybe you had laminate flooring in your home and you come in and you put brand new hardwood in, or you tile a bathroom, so to speak, obviously your replacement value went up a little bit. So we need to kind of think about those things. And this is right down kind of key area of expertise. If you make your home safer, if you've installed a security system of any kind, good chance your options for a discount are there. So that's always a good time to just call your agent and say, hey, let me look at that. I've added a security system. What does that do? And then major lifestyle changes. You get married, get divorced, have kids, all those things that happen. Those are always good times to take a look at your policy. And lastly, just to kind of finish up real quick here, 5 mistakes that people make, and I see these continually made, and I always try to advise people in this particular area, because if I can do anything, educating is one of the biggest things that I like to do with my clients or potential clients. So to avoid 5 mistakes, a lot of people will insure their home for the real estate value. Should never do that, because real estate value is a way different concept than reconstruction value.
Come on.
So don't ever do that. Selecting an insurance company on price alone. A lot of times you get people, they're shopping and shopping and shopping, they're trying to find bottom line what's the cheapest. That's not always the best. Kind of look at it this example, the cheapest TV in Best Buy may not be the best TV. If you're wanting quality, it may be that the price is a little bit more for the better quality company. This is something that doesn't really affect our area a lot, but there are still areas that are flood prone. A lot of people are dropping flood insurance right now because they think their normal insurance policy covers it. That's not at all true. And in purchasing the only legally required limits of liability, I get people all the time, I just want bare minimum liability. Don't ever do that. You've always got something to protect. I don't care if people say you can't get blood out of a turnip. Well, maybe true, but you can garnish wages, and that does happen. And I don't think anybody wants to be paying for an accident 10 years down the road. So don't ever do that if you can help avoid it. And I see this all the time, unfortunately. Some of you may be renters in here, and most people may be homeowners in here, but I see too often people do not buy renter's insurance. It's $100 a year investment to protect $20,000 or $30,000 worth of personal property. Could you replace that? Probably not. So those are some of the big mistakes that I see, and just wanted to share that with you guys and some things kind of to look out for and to be aware of. And just real quickly, great referrals for me, any homeowner, home buyer, automobile owners, apartment, people that rent, small business owners, I can help a lot of them to protect their pieces of their business. Anybody that's relocating to Knoxville, those are always good introductions, because they may not have an agent here that they've got a relationship with. And then people that need to review their policies, those are always good referrals for me. Appreciate your time.
Who's that guy in that picture?